waiting for coach.
Coach is supposed to be up here. Yeah, he needs to be up here. Yeah.
Just trying to get some meeting.
Apparently there was a little miscommunication, so to save time, we are going to go ahead and take questions for the players. Please raise your hand and we'll get you a mic. Up front.
Dante, just in terms of that start, not getting much up going offensively early on, how did you endure that? What was said in the huddle there?
I just told my team, just keep fighting. You know, you get down, you don't want to get down on yourselves. At that point, it's just battle time. It's time to lock in, do some of the things you probably wasn't doing before, like 50-50 ones. You losing those battles, just get after it. And my team had my back, and they just grinded with me, and they just, you know what I mean, stuck it out and had that toughness in them, and just battled. So.
Julian, when Bell fouled out of the game about midway through the second half, did you feel like there was a shift in maybe trying to get you the ball more?
Definitely. You know, had a smaller guy on me. You know, Bell was such a force down low, and I feel like we took advantage of that well in the second half.
Up front.
Kevin McNulty, Testudo Times. Julian, can you describe how you felt coming into this game, your first NCAA tournament game? Rocky start for Maryland, but obviously you put out a show in the second half. How did your feelings evolve over the course of the game?
You know, came out, you know, everybody has a little butterflies in the stomach, you know, coming out first game, especially against such a physical team that, like, we're not used to from a different conference. And I feel like watching this film after the first half, we adjusted well, and I adjusted well, and I feel like I was, I feel like I was able to elevate my game and elevate my teammates more, doing things off the ball, like passing, screening, rebounding, doing things that such to get us to win.
Okay, we're going to Zoom and take a question from Zoom from Christopher Heidel. Christopher, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, this is Chris Heidel from Hermiton Radio in Baltimore. Congratulations on the win, guys. What does it mean for you guys to move on to Saturday after playing a real tough West Virginia team?
It means a lot to move on because this is what you work for since the summer began. So you just got to keep going, taking one game at a time.
If anyone on Zoom has a question, please hit the raise your hand button and I'll be able to get to you.
For Akeem, you guys have had plenty of slow starts this year where you've crawled back to take the lead and then just ran out of gas towards the end. To actually finish the job in the biggest game of the year, what does it say about this team's character and resilience?
It says a lot about our character. I mean, it shows that we're just going to continue to fight no matter what the outcome can be. We're just going to continue to keep fighting.
Thanks, John.
We're going back to Zoom with Judith.
Hopefully you guys can hear me. I just wanted to ask, I guess more about how were you guys able to come back in the first half, how are you guys able to come back in the first half to make it like a game again, and then you guys pull out the win?
I feel like we came out, we came into the game knowing they were a physical team, but like started the game, we kind of underestimated their physicality. They were kind of able to push us off our plays and not get us to running our offense, and we just playing at their pace. And I feel like as the game went on, coach made the adjustments and we were able to adjust and make the right plays and make the right decisions and get it back on defense and match their physicality overall.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Okay, you guys are dismissed and your locker room is open.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, Coach, if you'll give us an opening statement, then we'll go directly to questions. We're going to go directly to questions. Up front.
Kevin, what did you see from Jameer early on, and how much did his kind of turnovers contribute to you guys falling behind there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one thing to practice against that defense for a couple days. It's another thing to all of a sudden see a Coach Huggins defense live. You know, for anything, it was just getting him to kind of calm down, see it. We have total confidence in him, and I think once he kind of saw it and everybody saw it, it was, you know, it was like a boxing match. You know, he got hit a couple times, and I think it just relaxed him. He was able to see it, and I thought he was pretty good the rest of the game.
Right here in the front.
Ed Lee with Baltimore Sun. Kevin, the fact that you know, Jameer may have had his troubles, but then you had three other starters contributing double digits. What does that say about the diversity of this offense?
Yeah, I think it's been like that most of the year. I mean, if you look at, you know, obviously Jameer's had a tremendous year, but Hakeem, you know, Hakeem's in 56% of our pick and rolls. Our scoring has been pretty balanced all year. I think the way Juju's played over the last month and a half, ever since he recovered from his shoulder surgery, and I think it's the team that understands that if one guy's not playing well, you know, okay, let's step up and give that guy some help. And I think that's, I thought Hakeem and I thought Don Carey, you know, Don Carey's leadership in the huddles, especially early on, was huge.
We're going back to Zoom with Christopher Heidel.
Hi, Coach. This is Chris Heidel from Humphrey Radio in Baltimore. Congratulations on the wins this afternoon. What's it like getting your first win with Maryland after the long, good year you had down there at College Park?
Yeah, I'm more excited for the kids than I am for me. This group, I've talked about a lot. This group they've come together. They've asked to do everything that I've asked them to do. They've had a great attitude. They've had an unbelievable work ethic. You know, we've been down all year at certain points in the game. They've never turned on each other. They just have a great attitude. You know, we practiced yesterday morning at 9 a.m. for, man, close to 2 hours, you know, and they were upbeat, they were positive. So I'm more excited about this group. You know, Jameer comes as a transfer in, Don comes in, transfers in. Juju, Hawk, and Dante stay. It's not easy putting together a group that's going to be so together, but, you know, you have to give credit to these young men. They've worked hard. They've had a great attitude, and I'm just excited for them.
When you took over, can you kind of just recount the early conversations that you had with Dante, with Hakeem, and kind of those times of, you know, you putting it down and them having to kind of be re-recruited?
Yeah, I think you know, I think me being, you know, so close down the road, I had played against Dante and Hawk. I had seen Juju play in AAU. I think the fact that they knew me and knew who I was, I think that really helped the cause, because I had recruited Dante pretty hard. I was a huge fan of him in high school. I knew all his high school coaches, his AAU guys. I know, you know, we played against Hawk, so I think the fact that they knew what I was going to do. You know, I couldn't go in there and bullshit them. Oh, excuse my mouth. I couldn't go in there and BS them. I just told them what I was going to do. I wanted this year for them, because it was an extremely difficult year last year for the kids. I wanted this year. I told them, I said, we're going to have a whole lot of fun. We're going to work hard, and we're going to win. And I think just the fact that, I mean, I was only 3 hours away. They knew, you know, they knew who I was. I think that really helped.
Up front, right here.
Just in the second half, Kevin, what's the balance there with Jameer in terms of holding him out until 7 minutes left and, you know, knowing he's the best option to get your offense going?
Yeah, you know, I have a lot of confidence in Jahari Long. There's a reason he's here. When he decided to transfer from Seton Hall, there was no hesitation for me. And I thought Jahari did a phenomenal job of just kind of, you know, he's one of those guys that's not flashy, doesn't do anything. And again, I think the fact that I can move Hakeem over to the post, I mean, into the point guard spot, you know, we've worked a lot on that this year. There's times that we've had to give Jameer times. So we really, you know, it kind of, we fought back into it. We cut it back down to 4, you know, so I was a lot more confident trying to buy as much time as possible. Once I didn't want him sitting too long. That was why I put him back in when we did. I usually probably, if he had gotten his fourth foul a little bit later, I probably would have sat him a little bit more. But I didn't want to try to put him back in at the 5-minute mark, and he's been sitting for that long. So that was the reason I put him in when I did.
We're going back to Zoom.
You're a big Zoom guy, huh?
Apparently. With Nikki.
Head coach Julian down the stretch had 13 points in the second half. What did you see from him, especially after Bell fouled out? He had 7 points in a row, just kind of leading that a bit of a comeback in the second half in his first NCAA tournament game.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone that's watched us over the last month and a half, 2 months, understands how good Julian Reese is. We were struggling. They were doing a great job trapping pick and rolls. And I have a lot of confidence in throwing the ball down to Juju. And I told him, I said, big fella, I said, I need a bucket, go get me one. And he looked at me, he said, I'm going to get you, coach. He's had to play Hunter twice, Zach twice, Crowell twice, Derek Walker. I mean, the bigs in our league are brutal. So although, the Big Ten just prepares you for big teams, and although this was a big team, I just thought Juju he'd just been through the battles. I just have so much confidence in him that I was just going to throw him the ball.
Back up front.
Coach, in one of the previous slow starts at home, you mentioned you told the guys a joke to kind of calm down a little bit. When you called the timeout down 11, almost 10 minutes in, what was the message to kind of loosen everyone up and get them going?
I told him, I said, let's just not get down 20. The sideline reporter asked me, she's like, are you worried? I said, we're only down 9 and we have 4 points. That's a celebration on the road. So, we've gotten off the slow starts on the road, but when you look up and you have 6 turnovers and it's only 13-4, there's reason to be excited. I'm a guy that looks at everything in a positive way, so I just told the guys, I said, guys, it's 13-4, we have 6 turnovers, but if that's the best they can do, then I think we're in pretty good shape.
Keidron Johnson, I think, scored 4 points in the latter half of the second half. Did you guys do anything differently defensively against him?
No, that's a bad man right there. He's a tough matchup. I'm a big fan of his. No, we went zone. We try to take away the ISO. Hugs runs that little stagger and clears, and he brings off Stevenson, whichever one. You're such a good player like Stevenson. You're trying to jump out, and he clears the whole side. We just decided to stay in zone and just keep Juju down low to kind of close up those driving lanes.
Right here, and then we'll finish with standing.
Coach, your view of the last play, sort of a scramble. Did you get the defense you wanted, heart in your throat when the ball goes up? What's your thought?
Yeah, if he made both, we still weren't going to foul with 4.2 seconds. You got to play it out. You just got to hope, And I thought, when he missed it, it's a lot. 4.7 is a lot of time. But we match up, and if you can give up a 1-foot runner at the end of the game, you'll take it.
Last question right here.
I asked you about the guys you inherited. I wonder, of all those guys, who presented the biggest contrast in personality that you kind of had to work through the process of, being that individual's coach?
Probably Juju. Just because I saw in Juju what everybody sees right now. And Ju was a little bit more soft-spoken. He had a good work ethic. We just had to get him to have a great work ethic. And once he saw my personality, how intense I am from the individual instruction side, I think I said this in December. He had a huge game against Coppin State. I told everybody, I said, you haven't seen anything yet. Because as I saw his personality grow, as he became a little bit more outgoing, I knew his game would become, because he is just a fantastic young man, and he has an unbelievable work ethic. I just needed him to believe in it. And so it took me a little bit longer with Ju to kind of get him to understand. And once he understood it, man, he's a monster. Thanks, everybody. Thank you very much.
Okay, the West Virginia locker room will be open until 2:20. We will go ahead and take questions for Kedrian Johnson and Eric Stevenson, and then we will dismiss them, and Coach Huggins will then take your questions.
Kedrian, start with you. Your view on the last shot. Scramble, I mean, there's probably not a play there. What did you want to do? Did you think it was online? It had a chance?
For sure, every shot I took today, I thought it had a chance of going in.
Right here, in the front left.
Eric, what was Maryland doing today that gave you a lot of trouble shooting the ball?
Nothing that any other team hasn't done. I just struggled from the floor today. They did emphasize, just shading my side when they were running that little zone, and then they just did a great job of sending guys at me and not letting me get, those easy miscellaneous looks, and loose balls and offensive rebounds and, broken plays that, I usually thrive in. But they did a good job at finding me in those situations.
To the left.
Jared McDonald with the Charleston Gazette-Mail. Keedy, early in the second half, you had a string of, I believe, 10 straight points to help get you guys back into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
What did you see during that stretch that led to that success from you personally?
I saw opportunities. Most teams play my drive, so they was going under the screen, so I just stepped back and shot the ball. And when I had the opportunity to drive, I took it to the basket, got fouled, and finished it.
Far right.
For both of you guys, I know it's just minutes, but the finality of this, we talked about a little bit yesterday, has it hit you yet? And what's the emotion that it came to an end?
Definitely hit. Emotions are high right now, but at the end of the day, somebody got to win, somebody got to lose. And we was the team that lost today, so, it's in the past now. It's the past for a reason.
Yeah, it was over, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's over. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, man. It's a different feeling. I can't thank this program enough. I can't thank Coach Huggins enough. I don't know what's next, but I'm just happy I got to finish it out here in West Virginia.
To the left.
Eric, kind of going off of that, this is a tournament that you've been aiming to reach throughout your entire career. What was it like being out there on the floor, finishing it off where you wanted to? Not necessarily right now, but, in the tournament.
Personally, didn't finish it off how I wanted to, but, as a team, we got to where I wanted to be. I'm just happy I got to end my career in the tournament, I guess.
Any more questions for the players? Gentlemen, you are dismissed. Okay, we'll now take questions for Coach Huggins. Please raise your hand and we'll get you on mic. We're going to start right here to the right.
So, Bob, you guys had a substantial early lead. Did you feel it could be even bigger? And how did they start to whittle away at that?
We were a little careless with the ball, and they made shots. They started backing us in. We didn't match up very well with them when they started matching us in, or backing us in rather. It wasn't a good matchup for us.
Here, then we'll go up front.
Jared McDonald with the Gazette-Mail. Not having Emmett for most of that second half, how much did that change what you guys wanted to do?
It hurts us. He's a 5-year guy that knows knows what we want done. He's our best perimeter defender. He gives us another guy on the glass who can keep balls alive and rebound it. And he makes open shots. I mean, that's a huge loss for us.
Up front.
16 offensive rebounds leading to 18 second chance points, excuse me. How big of a factor was that in your guys' game plan, and how big of a difference did it make for you guys today to be there till the end?
No, we spent a lot of time working on it. We're trying to score any way we could score.
Far right.
Bob, play off Jared's question a little bit. Not only was Emmett hurt in the second half, but Jimmy fouls out. James was in foul trouble. You don't have Mo, so how drastic was your depth up front? How big of a problem was that?
Well, our up front depth took a hit when we lost Mo for the year. He was our best shot blocker. So losing him hurt us. I got to be careful what I say, I guess, but I just leave it at that.
Here to your left.
Coach, I asked Keedy about it, but he had that stretch, 10 straight points to get you back in it early in the second half, finishes with 27. He's a guy that you've spoken very highly of throughout the course of the season. I was just wondering your thoughts on his performance today as a whole.
He was terrific. He was absolutely terrific. Without him, we wouldn't have been able to stay in the game. The last shot, it looked to me like it grazed the front of the rim. So, he's an inch away from winning the game for us. And it was dead on line. It was dead on line. It just missed by a few inches.
Back to your right.
So with that last shot, it's sort of a scramble. Do you have any kind of thing drawn up? Would you want anybody else to have taken it in that situation?
There were 4 seconds to go. I wanted him to get it on the run, which he did. Wanted him to get it on the run to where he could get as close as he could get without, it's 4 seconds. He can't look at the clock. He can't look at the clock and see how much time's left, and he shot it before the time expired, which was a great effort on his part. We missed by an inch. What are you going to do?
Back over here to your left.
Coach, probably too early for this question, but what do you think you're going to remember about this season and this group of guys?
Well, the reality is it took us a while to get them all together. We struggled early. We just didn't have the right chemistry. But I think we had a meeting to where, fellas, you can't keep going this way. The talk is you want to play in the NCAA tournament. You're not going to be able to play in the NCAA tournament if we don't start winning games. And they did. They won games in the hardest league in America. You can look back. There's a lot of you coulda, shouldas. They just didn't fall our way.
Back right.
Also, might be a little early for this question, Coach, but just with your length of time in this business, have to ask, what have you thought about your future and how long do you want to keep doing this?
No, the only thing I've thought about in the last, month and a half was getting these guys to a point where they could come here. We had Eric, for instance, had never played in an NCAA tournament. You want to get those guys to an NCAA tournament and experience the NCAA tournament. I mean, unfortunately, ours isn't going to be very long, but at least he got to play in one. I don't know. It's like anything else, you know. You probably got people who enjoy reading what you write, and there's people who say, I wouldn't read a damn thing he writes. I got the same situation going on, you know. I got people who think I should stay on for quite a while, and there's people thinking I probably ought to pack it in and let some young kid come in and screw it up. So.
So with that said, when do you talk to the guys who can come back, especially the guys that are going to be fifth-year seniors next year, about the opportunity to come back?
Well, I mean, in a way, we've already kind of talked about it. No, I mean, I think we let them kind of diffuse for a while, and then we'll sit down with everybody, not just those guys, but the guys that are have exhausted their eligibility, and we'll sit down and talk about what we did right and what we did wrong, and who's staying and who's going.
One more question? Okay, thank you, Coach.
Yep.